Hi everyone, welcome or indeed welcome back to the channel. If you are new, don't forget to hit subscribe because today I thought we would do a get ready with me chatty style because it's been a little while and yeah, that just rhymed. Totally did not mean that to happen. I feel like it's been a good while since I've done a chatty get ready with me and I do quite enjoy them and I hope you guys do too. It's Friday today, so I am planning on filming, editing and uploading in the same day again. Totally did not mean that to happen, but I ended up spending all of yesterday doing housework and then I thought, okay, we'll spend all of today, or at least all of this morning, doing some filming. So that's what I've been doing so far. And I just thought, I know what I feel like filming. I feel like filming a get ready with me because I was needing to film some cutaways for other videos that I've got coming up, which resulted in me removing all of my makeup. And I thought, well, I guess that means it's time to do a get ready with me. So if you are new to my get ready with me videos, I don't tend to talk too much about the products, but I always make sure that anything I use or I mention is listed down below in the description box. So if you're curious about something that I've used and I've not specifically mentioned it or you've not really seen it, then check the description box because chances are the information will be in there. I do talk a little bit about the makeup if I've got something interesting to say about it, if for example it's something new that I've been testing out. Otherwise, it's just a chance for me to have a bit of a general chit chat with you, really, I suppose. I do have some new stuff that I want to test out. I've got the new Lancome mascara, which is the Mr. Big or Monsieur Big, which just makes me think of Sex and the City, so I don't know if that's where they were going for with that. And I've also got a makeup base from Clarins that I want to test out. This is the Instant Smooth Perfecting Touch, and this is a sample I picked up from Feel Unique's Pick and Mix service a little while ago. There's like 5 sachets in this little card packet thing and each of these have got 1.5 ml in, so I'm feeling like it's going to be quite a few applications, but this is supposed to be a really good base for diminishing the appearance of wrinkles, fine lines, enlarged pores. I can use it alone or under makeup, so obviously I'll be using it under makeup today. And I've also got this Coty Airspun loose face powder, which I have been using every day, I think, since I've got it. So it's not new for me to test out right now, but it's new in terms of me never showing it on the channel so far in terms of using it. So should we get you zoomed in a little bit and we'll chuck some stuff on my face and just talk about random stuff. So first things first, I'm going to give some of this Clarins Smooth Perfecting Face stuff a go. Oh my goodness, it's really thick. I thought it felt difficult to get out. That is super duper thick. I don't actually know how much to use. Okay, let's just go for it, shall we? So yeah, this was my long week at work. I've done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week, and oh my goodness, this feels quite nice actually. I think I've used way too much though. That was way too much. It feels very primer-y. Unsurprisingly, it's got a real smooth feeling to it, but it does kind of feel skincare-y as well. It doesn't feel as bad as some primers do. I think it's just got that kind of smoothness to it. It doesn't really have much of a scent as far as I can tell, but yeah, I think I've just used way too much of that, so I think I'm just going to try and spread that around as much as possible. So yeah, I was saying that this was my long week at work, so I've done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. As a consequence, the house was an absolute tip by the time Wednesday kind of finished. So first day off yesterday. Oh, and the boy is back at preschool now as well. So that's fab. That's how I'm actually filming this now without kind of interruptions and stuff. So he's at preschool right now. He was at preschool yesterday morning, but all I ended up doing was a ton of housework, which did feel nice because the place ended up looking lovely. So it's always nice to feel as though you've managed to achieve something. And then today, all I've done is lots of filming, really. I've got quite a few videos that I want to get done, and quite a few of them involved sort of cutaway stuff. So that's what I've been filming this morning. Right, that feels as though it's actually sunken in really quite nicely, and it has left a bit of a stick to it, but I think that is probably because I just used way too much. But how's my skin looking? Is it looking miraculously different? Not sure. Just had a slight interruption in so much as I couldn't find my blending sponge anywhere, and it was actually right next to me. So in the time it's taken me to look for it, that stuff has actually sunken in a bit more, and it's still left a bit of a tack to the skin, but only, I suppose, in the same way that maybe a primer would. I am at the moment just using Old Faithful L'Oreal Infallible Matte. I know I should be using Estee Lauder Nude, but I just felt like using something that I knew I really liked. Plus, I think because I'm using a new face base, I want to know how it performs first with something I actually am familiar with. And I'm amazingly familiar with L'Oreal Infallible Matte. It's just amazing. It's so affordable, it goes on beautiful, it lasts really well. So if you've got oily skin like me, I know I've recommended this like a million times, but it is really, really good. You just need to make sure that if you've got any dry bits, like I have dryness around my sort of chin area, you just need to make sure that you've prepped it really well and moisturised really well. For that reason, I'll be really interested to see how this base stuff copes with this dry area of mine. Okay, I think that's everything on now in terms of foundation. It did seem to go on absolutely fine, didn't seem to cling at all. Feels about the same as normal, really. I've got a few spots to cover at the moment. Not anything too major. My skin's actually been behaving quite a bit recently, and I was thinking to myself, why am I having a mini breakout? And then I suddenly remembered I used a retinol the night before, and if you're not familiar, that's generally what using retinol does. It causes you to have a bit of a breakout. So if you're new to using retinols, that's something to bear in mind. Right, I think that's that area covered. Just need to get some concealer on me. Lately, I've been using this concealer from It Cosmetics. I got this quite a while ago in the Today's Special Value pack. Gosh, that was a while ago now, from QVC. And you literally need like the tiniest bit, so it's a good one in terms of a little bit going a long way. But what I like about this, it's a bit sticky, but it's not too drying, so it's really good if you've got kind of crepey under eyes like I have. But it really, really brightens. And when I first got it, I wasn't too excited about it, but I've actually been picking up every single day and I've been really liking it. I kind of thought that my quest for a good concealer was going to be over because everything I used I just didn't like, and it just didn't cope with my kind of crepey under eye area. And I don't feel as though my skin is quite that mature yet. It's getting there. I mean, you can just see there that it does really nicely brighten up the under eye area. You don't really need to set it. I don't find that it creases too much, but I have been quite liking setting it with the Coty Airspun stuff. It just makes you feel a little bit more awake and alive than perhaps you actually are. Next, onto the Airspun. Now, there's a couple of things I don't love about this, but I'm willing to look past it because of how affordable it is and how well it performs. One of the things I don't like is how much product comes out really easily. So when you've used up what's in the top and you go to maybe put the lid on and tip it upside down to get some more in there, there's just too much that comes through. I think the holes are too big. If I was just to go and dip my face powder brush in here and put it on my face would be fine, but my brush would become really choked with powder very quickly. What I've been doing instead, and this is kind of baking, I think actually, I just get the same sponge that I was using for my foundation and I dip it into the powder so it looks a bit like that. And then I just go over and press in to the areas that either I know are going to get oily or I know I want like lots and lots of coverage. And you know what? I've been doing this with my makeup every single morning before work, and my makeup has been lasting really well. I've definitely noticed that it helps. And I appreciate this technique is not going to be for everyone, but the only reason why I originally tried this out is because my poor two-faced face brush, the Mr. Right one, was just getting absolutely choked with powder, and I just find that this is a much better way. I can rinse off my sponge every day, and then any residue after I've let it sit for a bit, I then just use my powder brush to just wipe it away. And L'Oreal Infallible Matte is obviously a very mattifying foundation, but I found that doing this does not make things too matte and flat. There's just something about this powder that just works and does not go cakey, and you can be quite heavy-handed with it. It just, unfortunately, chokes my brush up. Another thing that I don't like about it, I don't think I mentioned this, is the smell. It's quite perfumed. And then what I tend to do after I've sort of done my whole face is I turn it round to the pointy end and I pick a little bit up and I just really carefully do my under eye area. And that's the difference between sort of one side done and obviously this side not done. Right, I think that's my base now done. That is pretty much locked in. So I'm just going to leave that to sit for a minute whilst I get on with the rest of my makeup, and then I will sweep it all off, any of the remainder, with my face brush in just a second. So, Game of Thrones is finished, and it feels like it's going to be a phenomenally long time until we get to see what happens. I think the ending was pretty much what I expected it to be. I don't think it's the kind of thing that you can spoil if someone's not seen it, just purely because if you're into Game of Thrones and you watch it, then everything that happened was to be expected, really, in terms of a season finale. But just in case you've not seen it and you really don't want to know anything, even though chances are you can probably work it out for yourself, I won't say anything more about Game of Thrones, but we really enjoyed it. We thought it was good. Can't wait for the final season to come out. So we're kind of at a bit of a loss as to what to watch now. I've had a few things recommended to me, and because of the fact that we only went with Now TV on their entertainment package because of Game of Thrones, I went to cancel it the other day because I thought, well, we were only using it to watch Game of Thrones. And they were like, whoa, hang on a minute. Don't you go cancelling because these awesome things are coming up. And it talked about, I think American Horror Story has been added today, although I didn't even know we could watch American Horror Story on Now TV, and we haven't seen, I think it's season 6. I can't remember what the subject was about that. I think the last one we saw might have been the hotel one, I think, with Lady Gaga, which we quite liked. So yeah, I think we missed out on season 6. And it also said they're adding The Walking Dead, and oh, we really enjoyed that. Unfortunately, due to social media, I know where the end of season, I don't even remember what ended. It was the one where they first met, I can't even remember his name, but the guy with the baseball bat, you know, the new bad dude. So he showed up, and unfortunately, I think I've mentioned this episode before actually on a Get Ready With Me. The last one we saw was the one where he's kind of going, was it eeny, meeny, miny, mo? And then he picks someone and you don't know who it is. Well, I know who it is thanks to social media. And I also know who the next person is that he gets, because I feel like everyone knew about that. That was floating around. So that was quite difficult to avoid. But obviously I'd like to see how it plays out, or not, as the case may be. But I don't think that's being added till the end of September. So I'm guessing that's going to be the season that we've not seen. I'm hoping it is. So I hate it when they add stuff and it's like, it's the latest season, but maybe you've missed one somewhere in between somewhere. And I have a feeling that's what they're going to do with American Horror Story. But at least you don't have to watch those one after another. You can just kind of dip in and out of them. I'm going to use a couple of new things on my eyes today. That was my very trusty daily use Maybelline colour tattoo in On and On Bronze. Absolutely love this stuff. It's gorgeous. And it's such a pretty colour. And I think I'm probably going to have this for the rest of my life because I use it so much, but you don't need to use very much and I've still got tons left. But I think I'm going to have a go with this L'Oreal Eyepaint that I picked up in Nudist, and also the Bobbi Brown, what was this again? Longwear Cream Shadow Stick in Golden Pink, which you would have seen me mention these, I think, in my last vlog when I had a couple of things to haul. So yeah, hopefully we're going to be watching some new stuff soon. Obviously, we've been watching Bake Off. Well, I say we, it's kind of me, and then my husband will sit there playing a game on his phone or whatever, and he says that he's not interested, but I'm sure that I've caught him looking at the TV. It's one of those situations. He says he did enjoy it, but he reckons he's kind of bored of the Bake Off concept. That's like saying you're bored of cake. I mean, that's just never going to happen. I don't really know what I'm creating here, but we're just going to run with it, I think. So yeah, I've been enjoying Bake Off. I'm not overly keen on both Sandy Toksvig and I can't remember his name. No, oh, Noel Fielding, is it? But then I never used to like Noel Fielding anyway, particularly. He's not really my cup of tea. Love Sandy Toksvig, but I prefer her in other things. So I think I would have preferred it had they have gone for two different Mel Sue replacements. Is anyone outside of the UK able to watch Bake Off? Do you even know what I'm talking about? Because it's just such a lovely concept, which just feels really British. If you're not familiar, it's essentially a kind of cooking show competition. They start out with, what, 12 people? And they go into this like huge tent, or marquee, sorry. It's a beautiful white marquee, usually in the grounds of somewhere fabulous. It's an amazing setup, and they basically cook different themed things each week. So we've just had Biscuit Week, which obviously to a British person is the type of thing that you would have with your cup of tea or coffee or whatever, so like a cookie. And there's like Cake Week and Bread Week, I think is next week. And there's 3 different tests. So the first test, I think, is their kind of, is it signature thing? So the thing that they make time and time again, it's their kind of known dish for whatever category it is. So if it was my mum during Cake Week or Dessert Week, she'd either do a Black Forest Gatto, even though she's not made one in years, but they're amazing, or a Pavlova, equally amazing. But those are the kind of things that she's really well known for. Then they do a technical challenge, which can be a lot of fun. So making something that maybe they've never made before, and they've got to follow a really basic recipe. And then the last challenge they do is a showstopper challenge. That is where they kind of just throw everything at it and make something amazing. And the showstopper challenge for this week during Biscuit Week is they had to incorporate the idea of making a biscuit board game. So like Biscuit Monopoly or Biscuit Snakes and Ladders, and it was very cool. So I really enjoyed this week's Bake Off. Just thought I'd maybe use the Bobbi Brown stuff as a bit of an inner corner highlight. I might go back in with the colour tattoo just on the edges, because I kind of feel like that eye paint has taken over, and on camera I'm not sure if it's looking so great. In real life it's not quite as obvious as it is on camera, but I will take some pictures of whatever it is that I come up with. But we are now moving into what is my favourite time of year. I love autumn and winter, and I'm really hoping that we actually get a proper one this year. Proper crisp autumn, and then a nice cold and hopefully snowy winter. But so far September has just been rain. What I love about this kind of eye makeup is you don't really need to bother with brushes. You can just use your fingers. I think I'm just going to use a bit of this e.l.f. eye pencil. I've not used this for a couple of weeks. It's the bronzy one that I particularly like. So I'm just going to add a little bit more detail. In terms of my work, that is going really well. I'm absolutely loving it. I still feel very lucky to have got in somewhere so nice, so supportive, just a really lovely bunch of people. Speaking of which, I don't know if you're watching this, Casey, but hello. Casey is someone who works with me all day, really. We sit right near each other. And it's quite funny because technically I'm old enough to be her mother. She's 17 at the moment, but her mum is the same age as me, which is quite surreal. She is a fan of YouTube content, and she mentioned that she'd watched a few videos of mine. So I don't know if you're watching this, Casey, but hello if you are. Speaking of which, my first day at work was surreal. Not just because it was my first day working in 4 years or something, so you've got that kind of worry. Have I mentioned this story already? I don't think that I have. In the kind of staff room area, where they've got a fridge and a kettle and stuff, they've also got a TV. And it's one of these new types of TVs that has a YouTube app, I think. And on my first day, I walk into the canteen and there's a couple of people in there already. One of them is watching YouTube videos. And the other person says, oh, you can find Kate on there, because did you know she's got a YouTube channel? And then basically, throughout my whole lunch break, it was like unbelievably cringy. I think they loaded up my most recent video, which was the latest in beauty unboxing. And yeah, just played it and didn't really pay it a massive amount of attention, which was a bit of a relief, really. It was just really cringeworthy for myself. But as people were going into the canteen area, obviously I'm there on telly, and it's like the new girl is on telly, and it was very surreal. So at least I suppose it's not much of a surprise anymore that I do YouTube, so maybe that's something to be thankful for, I don't know. But yeah, it made for a very memorable first day. This is the only eyebrow product I've got at the moment, other than maybe using powder. It's okay, but I don't think I would get it again. It's not really bad or anything, and I think it was £3, so it's really affordable, but I would rather have my Zoeva graphic brow pencil or try something different again. I always really struggle to do my brows in a small mirror. Speaking of Zoeva graphic brows, I think this Brow Fix stuff is on its way out, but it's lasted a really long time. So I use this every single day pretty much, unless I'm trying out a new brow thing and I don't want to mess with it. But yeah, it's starting to feel like it's drying out. I've been going for quite a feathery brow look lately, and I've been digging it. Not feathery as in the whole feather brows trend thing, but feathery as in just really swept up so that the hairs are really noticeable. Speaking of brow trends, have you guys seen the latest? Well, there's a couple of trends going around, and one of them, I don't think you can really call it a trend because you can't actually replicate it because it's all photoshopped, and that's the braided brows. And then the other one is the wiggly brows, and I don't like the wiggly brows. See, this is the problem. I put too much product in the wrong place. I'm gonna have to let that dry. So yeah, I did quite like the feather brows. I've seen some actually okay feather brows, and it's the kind of trend that you could almost do yourself and it would be okay. Right, I'm gonna have to leave that for a minute because that's just gonna get worse the more I mess with it. Onto this Lancome mascara. It's a really thick feeling formula. Seems to be going on nice though. Okay, so that's one coat. Just ignore my eyebrow. I think that looks nice actually. I think I've heard fairly good things about this. But it does seem to be quite easy to coat all of the lashes, so that makes for a nice change. I really like that mascara. I think that looks really nice. Yeah, really like how that's looking. I just need to do something about that eyebrow now. It's the only thing about the Zoeva Brow Fix that really frustrates me is it's amazing stuff and I really like it, and most days it goes on fine. And what you're best off doing is just waiting for it to dry and then just trying to correct everything. And it does leave a bit of a residue on the skin. So you kind of end up walking around with like a brown smudge, which is quite annoying. Okay, I think I've just about salvaged that. In real life, my brows are matching, but on camera this one's showing up darker, but I think it's because this side of my face is maybe closer to the window. Just gonna dust off my face. And like I said, it just does not cake at all, which I think is pretty impressive really. And my face does not feel like it's going anywhere right now. blush time. I'm still using this Tarte palette at the moment, which is the Empowered Flower palette. I think I used this in my Shop My Stash video and I've just been quite lazy and I've just been using it ever since, really. I quite like the middle pinky shade and perhaps like mixing them together as well, but I'm just a big fan of a pink blush basically. And I might just tone things down a little bit. And I think it's just lips to do now. I'm still loving this little Smith & Colt, The Lovers. It's such a gorgeous colour. It lasts really well as well. And it's just so pretty. So I think I'm done. That is my full face done now. I feel as though I didn't really chat much about random stuff. I don't know, maybe when I edit this back I will feel differently, but I did actually talk about the makeup a fair bit in this one, so I really hope that you enjoyed this Get Ready with me and whatever you were doing at the same time as watching this. If you did enjoy it, I would really appreciate a thumbs up down below because it does really help support my channel. And if you are new and would like to subscribe to see more content like this from me in the future, I will pop a button just here so you can click it and just get notified of new content as and when it gets uploaded. And if you've not seen my last video, I will pop a link to that one just up here so you can click it and check that one out too. Anyway, I hope you're all really well and I will see you again soon. Bye!